Hey everybody, great to be here today. I was raised in the very binary 20th century. There was right and wrong. There was man and woman. There was business profit or social justice. And I wondered, is this actually a massive oversimplification? Could you be both a man and a woman? Could you run your business to help people? Could you hold multiple different points of view simultaneously and take in as many ideas as you wanted to? And at the risk of possibly raising the blood pressure of some of the people in this room, the Hawke's Bay has had the perfect example of binary thinking, the Rua Taniwha Dam project. And in fact, in the final executive summary, it says, this presented particular challenges when confronting a binary issue with such long-term consequences. You're either building the dam or you're not. And it goes on to say both options involve years of effort with no guarantee of success, really piling the pressure on. And it went further and said the Hawke's Bay Regional Council does not have the luxury of doing nothing. And as we know, the rivers here are becoming increasingly degraded. So how can we think about this differently? How could we bring a non-binary point of view to what looks like a really binary issue? So if binary is yes, no, or 0 and 1, what is non-binary? Non-binary is like a tesseract. So if you look behind me, if figure 1, that's binary. It's on or it's off. Figure 4 is a tesseract. This is where the zeros and ones can go off in multiple directions to create an infinite amount of possibilities. Non-binary thinking gives you the ability to embrace all the possibilities in a situation, and you can create a multiverse of options. Or if this is an easy way of thinking about it, the gap between the 0 and the 1 becomes stretched out with zeros and ones all along that between those 2 points. And my Chief Technical Officer, John Curtis, local Hawke's Bay boy actually, describes this as a series of conditional expressions. So if this, then that. So if I'm wearing pants, then I'm a man. But if I dye my hair, then I'm a woman. If I'm the CEO of a tech company, I'm a man. But if I'm a collaborator, then I'm a woman. And somewhere between 0 and 1, man and woman, lies a true expression of who I am. These words will strike fear into the heart of any parent in the room. This was a text sent actually to my husband from our 18-year-old daughter at around about 1 a.m. on a Sunday morning, so it's conceivable alcohol was involved. The following morning over breakfast, she told us she was bisexual. And I experienced a really difficult intellectual problem with this because it felt like neither this nor that. It was neither gay nor straight. And I honestly didn't get it. And the irony was she had actually always been like that. She was very physically exuberant as a child and loved competing against the boys at the athletics club. But also she was very sensitive and loved her music and ballet. And it made me reflect on my own life choices. Sorry guys, just had a moment then. It made me reflect on my own life choices. I am the CEO of a tech company. I don't want to wear heels anymore, and I can't be bothered to dye my hair. So I feel like a woman, but sometimes I act like a man. I was like my daughter, and she was like me. I'm not bisexual, by the way, but certainly less gender certain than I had previously thought. And gender's so important, isn't it? When a new person comes into the world, it's the first thing that we ask, is it a boy or a girl? So if that is less clear-cut, I thought to myself, what else is less clear-cut? I don't know. These words perfectly illustrate non-binary thinking, and historically we use them to describe ignorance. But actually, the minute you own these words, you can really explore new solutions. And incidentally, God can be translated as the unknowable, and Yahweh, which is another word for God, can be described as I don't know. And as CEO, I'm asked 20 times a day for my decision on something. And sometimes I can just throw off the answer because I've been in that situation before and I know it. But often, I don't know. The digital marketing company will call me up and say, Sue, should we align the search ads to bring down the cost of acquisition? And I'm like, God, I don't know. And So what happens when you don't know? Well, you ask people, you read, you listen, and you learn. But you can also feel doubt and confusion. And you have to build up a level of tolerance for the gap between your fear of the unknown and your thirst for a new solution. And when you think about the great thinkers of our time like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, they must live in this space, I think, of I don't know and reaching out. Up on the slide is something, hopefully, which fascinates me, because it allows for a truly massive amount of I don't know. It's a picture of quantum tunneling at the atomic level. So I'm going to do my very best to explain quantum tunneling to you. I found out yesterday that in the audience there is a NASA physicist, so this is like a little embarrassing for me, but I'm going to do my absolute best. So if you imagine you have a lovely bouncy ball in your hand and you walk to a hard wall and you throw the ball at the wall and it bounces back and you catch it. That's what you expect. You throw it again, it bounces back and you catch it again. And you do that a few more times and then you throw the ball at the wall and it sails straight through the wall and out into the garden. That's what quantum tunneling looks like at the atomic level. So you can see behind me, the ball of particles is hitting a completely impenetrable layer, except when it doesn't. Sometimes the particles sail straight through, and that's the very slight puff you can see on the left-hand side there. Those particles are doing something which they cannot do, unless there are more possibilities than we can imagine. The puff on the left represents the unlikely possibility of something happening which we cannot explain. And if those particles can pass through that wall, then maybe we can find complex solutions to problems like dam or no dam. And maybe if the Hawke's Bay Regional Council had focused not on the binary issue, but on a range of desirable outcomes, it could have created more opportunities for agreement. But there's a problem. You can imagine, if you're looking at every possibility, it could take some time to reach any decision. And typically when I'm making a big decision, it does feel like I'm kind of wasting time. I ask everybody who might be affected by the decision in the company. I discuss it with my husband. I sleep on it. I chat to my friends. And I can feel everybody thinking, God, would you just get on with it? Please just make a decision. Move on, Sue. And yet, the company that started with one small idea in 2013 has now grown to a SaaS business with a value of just under $10 million today. And we are nationally recognized for our software innovation. So somehow it works. So how do we incorporate the I don't know into business? I've made up 4 rules just to stop myself going crazy and to stop everybody that I work with going crazy. So here they are. Number 1, some decisions are too small to worry about. Whatever you decide will be fine. Number 2, manage your downside. I was thinking of nice ways to say this, but I'm just going to say it in a kind of a harsh way. If you are going to actually die from the decision you make another one. Is it survivable? Manage your downside. Number 3, trust your skill set. If you're an expert in the decision area, then you are probably going to make a good decision. And if you're not, go find yourself a domain expert. And number 4, and I think this is probably the key one, stand on your values. I think if you have a good values framework, you don't need massive amounts of data to make a decision. So for us in our company, there's only really one question. Is this decision going to make our clients' lives better? If the answer is yes, we're probably going to do it. So if everything is on the table, what would you choose? If you could have your cake and eat it. If you could raise a family and have a rewarding career. If you could lie on the couch eating chocolate and write your bestseller. And this is what the non-binary world brings you. You don't have to choose. And you don't have to be consistent. You can be really lazy today and work really hard tomorrow. You can be a perfect mother today, and you can go out with your friends tomorrow and drink a little bit too much wine. But how do you move forward when you have limitless possibilities? Find your North Star. Set yourself a goal. Sorry, guys. In Beany, we decided that our goal was just to double in turnover every year and to make our clients as happy as possible. And that's what we've done. We've doubled in the last 4 years, and we have client satisfaction of over 96%. We've made some horrible mistakes. We haven't got everything right, but at least we've had a direction and a goal, and we've just kept going. This sounds so fabulous, but we're actually programmed to be binary, aren't we? We're programmed to be a man or a woman. We're programmed to be a business leader or a social warrior, a leader or a follower. And these shortcuts help us fit into the world, and they make our lives simpler. You know, how's it going to work if everybody is off exploring the multiverse? Well, I don't know, but it does strike me that we could explore another pattern of thinking for us as a species, because I'm not sure we've completely aced this yet. The waterways are becoming degraded, and even in this beautiful city, we have domestic violence, poverty, lack of housing. So I don't know, but I think it's worth exploring other patterns. The secret. Everybody wants the secret. This was given to me by a very wise woman called Joan Dalloway. She was one of New Zealand's most respected psychotherapists and an Anglican priest. So she neatly kind of crossed over that science spirit world. And she gave me one word which makes all the difference. And that word is and. This translates any binary situation into a non-binary world. You can be gay or straight. You can be gay and straight. You can drill for oil, or you can save the environment. You can drill for oil now and work on a plan to save the environment. When somebody asks you to commit to a position, take your time. Ask a friend. Discuss it with your neighbor. Explore the multiverse. This talk has been about creating a multiverse of options so we can choose differently and find collaborative solutions to life's issues, whether that's personal, business, the environment. And can a shift to the and world achieve all that? I believe it can. Thanks very much for your attention.